What's going on, guys? Welcome to a very Christmas edition of the Renegade Jukebox on the Renegade Pop Culture Network. My name is Mike, and joining me is my co-captain, Nick.
Yeah.
This is going to be fun because, it's the two metalheads talking about our favorite Christmas music on the heavier side of things, ranging from rock to metal, mostly metal.
Yeah, for me, I'm just going to throw this out there for myself that, if you've ever worked retail like me, I it's really soured my attitude towards Christmas, especially if you have to hear the same version of Jingle Bell Rock every half hour. You really wish something was more tailor-made for you. So I've about I want to say like 6 years ago or 7 years ago or something, I just made my own playlist of what I think is probably some of the best Christmas music that gets you through the holidays, on top of just, watching Black Christmas and Gremlins.
Good stuff. I also worked at a grocery store for a few years, and every December, like the entire month, was just nothing but the same like 6 or 7 songs just on repeat. So over the years, I've been discovering more alternative Christmas music that we'll be getting into in a minute. But the more I learn about all these different different versions of songs that we've heard like 60 billion times, the more interesting that it all becomes.
For me, it's more just amazing seeing a lot of different cultures take on a lot of stuff traditionally. One we will definitely be getting into first, but it's amazing how Christmas is celebrated in other parts of the world, and that includes the world of metal. So for me, because one of the things that I've always found amazing about European metal is how they make it heavy, but at the same time, it's still part of their culture. It's still part of what makes them unique to their part of the world.
Oh, totally.
And
So where do you want to begin? Because I have one that I think is absolutely top priority.
yeah, I haven't heard every Trans-Siberian Orchestra record myself, and for me, I just really wanted to pick ones that might either seem out of left field or some that might surprise some people. So I'm gonna let you take the reign on this first one.
Okay, yeah. Not to bury the lead anymore, but yeah, my top priority is Trans-Siberian Orchestra. It's the first there. Okay, so this band formed from another symphonic metal band called Sabotage, and in 1995 they did a version of Carol the Bells called Christmas Eve in Sarajevo, and that song inspired the band. That's where Trans-Siberian Orchestra began. So I am obligated to recommend that everyone check out the Christmas trilogy. All their albums and pretty much everything we talk about is available on Spotify to listen to.
And also, I feel like we should mention, since obviously concerts are definitely not happening this year due to current circumstances, they will be doing a live stream for 2020 that people can buy tickets for and watch on December 18th. So I have never seen Trans-Siberian Orchestra live, mainly because they never do Edmonton tour dates. So I'm still crossing my fingers once concerts come back, they do a Canadian tour.
Yeah, I've never actually seen them live. I didn't actually know about this live stream, so I'll certainly be checking that one out.
All right, cool. If I take over for this next one, because I feel like everybody's gonna find it pretty agreeable.
Go for it.
Okay, so my first pick, we gotta talk about the metal god himself, Rob Halford from Judas Priest.
Hell
So
yes.
in 2009, he actually released an album called Halford 3 Winter Songs. So this is purely comprised of either original songs that he and Judas Priest producer Roy Z wrote, or traditional Christmas songs. And for me, this gets me a lot more in the holiday spirit rather than just whatever crappy pop cover of I can't even keep track of anything anymore. But regardless, whenever I throw on Get Into the Spirit, you cannot wipe the grin off your face. All the
Yeah,
double kick and shredding.
that one does the trick.
And plus, even songs that when I was a kid, I was like, I'm getting sick of We Three Kings. On this album, you will never get sick of it. And highlighting another original song, Christmas for Everybody, Christmas for Everyone, whichever you want to call it. If you cannot wipe the grin off your face. It actually does make you feel excited to celebrate Christmas as opposed to dreading the holiday lineups, which for the record, I got my holiday shopping done. And no, I did not have to buy a Discord server pass for PS5. Had to work in a topical joke there.
Of course.
All right. Do you have one next, Mike?
This is another one I think was going to be on both of our lists. King Diamond's song No Presents for Christmas.
Yes, that has to be brought up into the discussion. And fun fact, this was actually King Diamond's first solo single.
Wow, I actually didn't know that. But
yeah,
but it makes a lot of sense. If you're gonna break out on your own, you got to do it in a big way.
And really plus it is easy to find. Like apparently it was on one of the reissues for Fatal Portrait, and it's on another compilation disc. So it's not like it's some ridiculously underground B-side, unlike another one of my picks I'll be bringing up in a bit. But this, I always make sure I go out of my way when we're opening presents on Christmas. This has to be played.
I think that's kind of the perfect song that if you're gonna talk about metal Christmas, this is like exactly what you envision.
Yeah, that and the fact that it's even making references to Donald Duck.
So now he's even getting into Disney Duck lore.
Yeah, believe it or not, a lot of people in the world of metal really do like Donald Duck, and that will be on another one of my picks coming up. I was actually going to save King Diamond for after another certain album that we were talking about yesterday, but I would actually really love to bring up probably the best compilation disc you will probably ever track down.
I think I know what you're talking about, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's so what I'm referring to is the compilation album We Wish You a Metal Xmas and a Headbanging New Year, which is the greatest compilation album title I have ever heard. So it is essentially a compilation of about 12 to 16 songs of traditional Christmas music, but it's all covered by a lot of metal artists and a lot of people from like the 80s glam scene. So if you like 80s glam stuff, there's something for you on here. But if you're like me and like traditional and extreme metal, there's stuff like Run Run Rudolph, which has Lemmy, Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top, and Dave Grohl. You got to play that on Christmas. You've got Alice Cooper with John Five from Rob Zombie and Marilyn Manson, and Billy Sheehan from a million different bands, and Vinny Appice from Black Sabbath doing Santa Claus is Coming to Town, the amazing version of God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen, which has Ronnie James Dio and Tony Iommi from Black Sabbath on it.
I'm so glad you brought up this compilation because I told Nick off air that pretty much all this week I was listening to the Metal Christmas playlist on Spotify, and like a good chunk of that playlist was just the We Wish You a Metal Xmas compilation.
And this is why I was throwing this in our little group chat. This has one song that I actually two in particular that you probably don't want to throw on in front of your religious grandparents, and it's probably going to be Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer with Des from Devil Driver, Blasco from Ozzy solo band, Doug from Dio solo band, and John Tempesta from Exodus and Testament.
I love the like the super groups that form for each of these songs.
Oh, Silent Night with Chuck Billy from Testament and Scott Ian. That really makes everybody go, "What are you doing right now?" And I'm just like, come on, have some fun with it. This is actually making this sufferable for me.
Yeah, that's the thing about Silent Night on the album. It's not good in the traditional sense, but it's fun to hear Chuck Billy's rendition of that song.
Yeah, no doubt about it, especially just given I think, yeah, this was just like shortly after Formation of Damnation came out, so they were still like huge on the death metal kick that they've been on for quite a while. All right, so I'm gonna throw another one in there, and we were talking about this earlier. So one story that I remember from when I was back in elementary school was this story called The Snowman. So I don't know if anybody's heard of it, but it's about this kid who builds a snowman around Christmas time, and the snowman comes to life and they end up flying around and they go to a party full of a bunch of other snowmen and Santa. So this story actually is a lot more popular in Britain and in Finland. I have to put emphasis on Finland in this case because we got to talk about Nightwish.
Of course, we got to talk about Nightwish.
Yeah, so the song in that from that story, because that's actually a special that airs every year. It's kind of like Britain and Finland's Charlie Brown Christmas, essentially. Nightwish do a cover of Walking in the Air. So if you're big on your symphonic metal, that is one you definitely have to be throwing on. And this is, keep in mind too, this is also long before Marco joins the band. So this is full Taria opera Nightwish.
Yeah, I listened to that honestly for the first time earlier today, and it's a beautiful rendition.
I mean, it's faithful to the original, but at the same time, it just adds that extra little bit of shred.
Speaking of which, an album that literally just came out this weekend that I think deserves a mention is the power metal band Majestica released an album called A Christmas Carol, it's a kind of original concept album, but heavily inspired by the Charles Dickens novel. And what I love about it is it's mostly like original lyrics, but you can definitely tell musically they took a lot of inspiration from like classic Christmas carols to like a little bit of John Williams, Danny Elfman. It's basically the same. It gives you the same satisfaction of listening to Trans-Siberian Orchestra, but a little bit more on the heavier side.
Okay, so I can't think of a heavier power metal band offhand, but would it be kind of in the same vein as Powerwolf on some level?
Um, I don't know if it's quite that heavy, but it rips. There's a lot of shredding on there, and it's
Hey, if it rips, it rips. If there's a lot of crazy soloing, I'm down with it.
yeah. I think anyone who's a power metal fan, who also loves Charles Dickens, would get a kick out of this.
Okay, so I'm trying to think of another one that hasn't gotten brought up yet. So how about we talk about Nightmare Before Christmas because I just watched that a couple of days ago.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so this is where I'm going to address one aspect of this album, and Mike and I have kind of discussed this behind the scenes because due to certain controversies around one artist, I'm apprehensive, but I'm going to throw people a bone at the same time just because I'm feeling the Christmas cheer has made me that nice. Haha. So Marilyn Manson, he does a cover version of This Is Halloween, for obviously from the movie The Nightmare Before Christmas. I'll bring it up for the Manson fans that really want to hear it. If you want to go check it out, it's definitely available, but due to certain controversies around the guy at the moment, I'm not personally going to be listening to it.
Yeah, I have heard the song before, and when you take away all of the controversy surrounding him, yeah, he does a good job covering that song. But the two tracks in particular that I lean towards more are Korn's rendition of "Kidnap the Sandy Claus" and Rise Against "Making Christmas."
Took the words right out of my mouth, man. So with Kidnap the Sandy Claus, I really think that could almost just be reworked into the movie and you wouldn't notice a difference. Like this really matches Jonathan Davis's vocals perfectly. The whole manic style that he's always been known for. That end, this is actually the first time Ray Luzier, I'm probably mispronouncing his last name horribly. This was the first track he ever drummed on with the band.
And it's a great first impression.
Oh, there's tons of double kick on it, and plus Monkey's still at this point, Head's been out of the picture for a couple of years, so he's still holding down the low end riffage. It's a song about wanting to boil Santa Claus in a pot. I mean, how can you not enjoy that?
It almost feels like this song was written for Korn, even though the movie came out at like 2 or 3 years before they really blew up.
Actually, Korn's first album came out in 94. This movie came out a year beforehand.
Okay, so relatively close, but still the movie came before the band.
Technically talking, yes. And then as for Rise, I mainly wanted to keep it metal focused, but if you dig some punk rock, Rise Against, you can't go wrong with them. Their cover of Making Christmas. If you just want a huge grin on your face and nothing but references to throwing snakes and spiders into Christmas boxes, this is your song.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that a lot of these covers are just fun because like they're such a departure from what you normally hear on the radio.
And then I might as well go into this next one because you never hear instrumentals getting played on the radio. So you know where I'm going with this.
Yep.
August Burns Red. So please, before we start talking about them, no hardcore dancing allowed. That is the first bit of housekeeping, done and out of the way. So in 2012, August Burns Red put out an awesome holiday covers album called Sleddon Hill, and it's 10 songs of traditional Christmas songs and 2 originals. They're both done by their guitarist, I believe. He wrote those. Yes, just checking Wikipedia right now. Yeah, he wrote 2 originals for this record. So, and keep in mind, this has no vocals on it. So Jake does not do any vocals on this record. So if you're not into instrumentals, well, too bad, but still there's tons of shred and tons of fun on here. Sleigh Ride, so many amazing solos on here. Jingle Bells. If you want to open up the pit to Carol of the Bells, this is your album.
I hope you guys are ready for a hot take. I think Sleddon Hill might be August Burns Red's best album.
Yeah.
Or at least their most musically interesting.
Like my thing is, keep in mind, I don't hate August Burns Red. I've seen them live twice. They put on a good show. It's just for me, I'm not a huge fan of a lot of like, the typical Warped Tour metalcore type stuff. So the thing about this album for me is that it really dials back a lot of the breakdowns and focuses a lot more on amazing playing from the guitarist, a lot of like odd time signatures, and yet it still sounds like something they would put out yet a traditional Christmas album.
See, I am a little bit more favorable to the Warped Tour metal scene, but my interest in August Burns Red, at least of their latest studio album, really kind of waned. So going back to listening to something like Sleddon Hill, and even I just found out this recently. Like this year, they did another Christmas EP called "All I Want for Christmas Is You."
Obviously, the Mariah Carey song.
Yeah, and suddenly I'm back to jamming ABR again.
But hey, I'm gonna throw the other side of the coin a bone. If Christian metal's just really not your thing and you're that opposed to it, well, let's talk about some Vikings next.
Oh yes, let's talk about Amon Amarth.
So I have to address the elephant in the room. There are a lot of people who say this is not one of their songs. Wrong. The band confirmed it in an interview. It's just you can really only find it on YouTube. So too bad. But Amon Amarth have a song called Viking Christmas. So if you want to party like Vikings and treat the 12 days of Christmas like it's Leif Erikson Day, yeah, this is your song. Tons of amazing Swedish death metal riffing. It's it's Amon Amarth. The way I equate them is they're like chocolate. You don't complain about chocolate being the same every time you eat it.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I did get a little nervous looking for the song on Spotify because I thought, wait, did they actually do the song? But then I did find it on YouTube. And I'm like, okay, I'm not sure why it's not more accessible, but as long as you can find it on YouTube, you're good to go.
Yeah, maybe they'll throw it on a B-sides album or a repress one of these days.
Or another greatest hits.
Just pulling this up, just fact checking myself. Oh, they actually, I don't pay attention to greatest hits records, so I'm surprised that Amon Amarth have a greatest hits record. And oh my God, they covered Children of the Grave. I have to listen to this after this recording. So one that I've been really excited to fanboy about, and this one I have to issue with a bit of a warning. Do not throw this on at the work Christmas party because everyone is going to be depressed immediately after. We got to talk about one of the best bands of the 90s, Typo Negative.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the floor is yours.
Okay, so 1996, the album October Rust has the gloomiest Christmas song you will ever hear, and it is called Redwater Christmas Morning. And yes, it is spelled exactly the way you were picturing it in your mind. It's with a U in it. And yeah, it sounds like a Typo Negative song, but it fits the atmosphere of Christmas and makes it so bleak at the same time. And the lyrics are what, let me just read some of them to you. So one line is, the stockings are hung, but who cares? Preserved for those no longer there. 6 feet beneath me sleep.
Yeah, so if you want to be if you want to be really depressed over the holidays, just put this on.
Yeah, trust me, it's a great 6.5 minutes. And plus, honestly, when I was jamming it before this recording, when it just went right into my girlfriend's girlfriend, the next song on the record, I was just like, can I just listen to the rest of this record? All right, so that's all I've got. Is there any other albums or songs that you want to bring up, Mike?
Have we had a chance to talk about Twisted Sister's iconic 2006 record, A Twisted Christmas?
I only heard one song just in the past couple of days, so I haven't heard the record front to back. I'll mainly let you take the floor on it, but the song I heard, Heavy Metal Christmas, that needs to be thrown on at more Christmas parties.
Oh, absolutely. I don't have too much to say about this one, other than if you already like Twisted Sister, then you should go into this knowing what to expect. But some of my favorite songs are right up top. We get a great version of "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas" that starts off slow, but then jumps right into D. Snyder being like, wait a minute, what am I doing? We're Twisted Sister. And then it becomes a Twisted Sister song.
Plus, also, I should throw this out there. Apparently, Lita Ford and Doro Pesh are on this album. I feel like that should be noted.
Oh, yeah. Lita Ford is co-lead vocals on I'll Be Home for Christmas. And Doro Pesh throws some backing vocals on White Christmas.
That is just all too fitting. So yeah, I'm throwing this on as many times close to Christmas as I can.
Yeah, like we couldn't have this podcast without talking about probably one of the most well-known metal Christmas albums in recent years, at least. Oh,
Or
speaking of which, I think we also need to talk about Christopher Lee, who's done plenty of Christmas material.
hey, you've got to respect Count Dracula, Saruman, and a James Bond villain all at the same time, so he's got to be part of the discussion.
Yeah, so we can talk about a lot of songs, but I think the one that most people will jump to first is Jingle Hell.
That's one I haven't checked out yet. I mainly heard a lot of the more traditional stuff off that record, but yeah, that's going on the list just because it's called Jingle Hell.
Yeah, there some of the other ones. He's done a cover of the Little Drummer Boy, Silent Night, and I think a few others. This is obviously on an EP called a Heavy Metal Christmas.
Just pulling up his Wikipedia page right now because I know he's done work with Rhapsody of Fire. He didn't do a Christmas record with them. It's just the okay, yeah. Actually, he's done 2 different EPs that are Christmas themed in 2012 and 2013.
Yep, Jingle Hell is the one from 2013.
Okay, yeah, that one's going on the list. One that I know is we will probably get comments on if it isn't brought up is not so much of a metal song, but from a metal vocalist nonetheless, Xmas by Corey Taylor.
I'm surprised this didn't come up sooner because
I kind of wanted to keep things a little bit outside the box, just bring up stuff that people might not have heard of just yet, but just because Slipknot are such a huge band and Corey's so well known that I figured, yeah, people would know about it, but it should be brought up at least.
And this was recorded like about 11 years before his solo record came out. I think this is like the first thing he's done really on his own without Slipknot or Stone Sour.
Yeah, it was. It was actually back in 2010 because I remember hearing it when I was in grade 11 and I was like, I should not play this in front of my grandparents. I take it back. I totally should. Yeah, again, some of this I send out warnings because if you have family members that take Christmas ultra seriously, do not play this or Steel Panther's Sexy Santa or AC/DC's Mistress for Christmas. Otherwise, you're definitely getting some talkings too. Do you got any other music choices? Because I'm ready to go through honorable mentions.
I'm just browsing Spotify's metal Christmas playlist just to make sure I didn't miss anything important. Okay, so there's one from Spinal Tap's album Break Like the Wind. They got in on the Christmas fun and did a song called Christmas with the Devil.
Not as familiar. I haven't checked out a lot of Spinal Tap stuff outside of the movie, so this is new to me.
Yeah, a lot of Break Like the Wind I haven't really had a chance to dive into, but Christmas with the Devil is just kind of a perfect kind of the perfect representation of what you would expect a band like Spinal Tap to record for the holidays.
Okay, then. All right, cool. If I barrel through some honorable mentions, then.
Yes, go for it.
Okay, so I already mentioned AC/DC's Mistress for Christmas. That if you love double entendres, you're gonna love that. And Steel Panther's Sexy Santa. I'm amazed those aren't staples at strip clubs around Christmas. Another one not recommended for the religious family members is Venom's Black Christmas. One you could get away with, Joe Satriani's Heavy Metal Christmas, a lot of more traditional stuff, but it's all purely instrumental and Joe Satriani shreddy type stuff. Psycho Stick and their EP, The Flesh Eating Roller Skate Holiday Joyride, which might just be the greatest EP name ever.
I love it.
Necrogoblicon's Goblin Christmas Armageddon Parts 1 and 2, because you need goblins as part of Christmas. Nocturnus, amazing death metal band, Destroying the Manger, and of course, Tankard's blunt title, Fuck Christmas.
Those are some great honorable mentions.
Hey, I was just barreling through a bunch of what's on my iTunes and just going through Reddit, and I felt like that's probably the best possible Christmas playlist you could muster up. Just have a bunch of friends over, but when it's safe to do so again.
Yes. So any final thoughts on our metal curated playlist?
Not much I can really say. I would say this would probably go over quite well with a bunch of friends coming over. Again, keep in mind when things are safe again and not so coronavirus-y. This would go over well at a Christmas party with a bunch of your friends who want to just watch horror movies and listen to metal all night.
Yeah, sounds good to me. I like how we brought like most of the titles that we mentioned are from pretty big names in the heavy metal community, but I like how we brought a little bit of attention to either songs or art or artists that not a lot of people have listened to. Like, for example, Majestica is a relatively new band that just put out their first record last year, and their Christmas Carol album just came out this weekend. So now is like the perfect time to get on that hype train.
And plus, I just heard about, I don't know how I missed this last year. Rob Halford also did put out another Christmas record last year. So that's something that I'm probably going to end up checking out. It's not under just the Halford name, but it's another solo album that I'm probably going to wind up checking out, especially since that last Priest record was so good.
Oh, yeah, man. We have gotten spoiled between last year and this year. We have gotten spoiled with so many good new metal records.
Oh, on whenever we end up doing a best of the year list, we got to make sure that we don't have it just end up being like 5 hours and I'm just going through my 100 best records of the year. I'm still playing catch up. Honestly, there's a lot of stuff that I haven't gotten around to just yet. I've still got to get around to that new Ailstorm. I've got to get around to Nightwish. I've got to eventually throw on that new Unleash the Archers. For some reason, I'm bringing up a lot of power metal, and symphonic stuff, but I've got to check those out.
Yeah, I have a lot of catch up to do myself. A lot of records between I'd say August to basically throughout the year. There's a lot of records that I missed, and I'm gonna try to catch as many as I can before we do a proper best of the year podcast.
I have to do my due diligence. Did you at least listen to that new Mr. Bungle album?
I've skimmed it. I haven't checked out the whole thing yet, but I'm loving what I've heard so far.
That should be top of your priority list. And actually, Dave Lombardo, yes, the Dave Lombardo, formerly of Slayer, currently of Suicidal Tendencies and Dead Cross, actually liked my Instagram post.
Oh, that is awesome.
Oh, I was almost just tempted to be like, I don't know how I'll do it, but I'm going to teleport my copy of Rain and Blood to him for him to sign.
So yeah, the next Renegade Jukebox will probably be our best of the year, and I'm very much looking forward to how our lists turn out.
I'm probably just gonna end up going, okay, here's 20 through 1, and I'm just gonna skim through 20 to 11 and then go through the top 10, because I'm amazed Run the Jewels is still in my top 10 for the year.
Yeah, that album really impressed me and came out at just the right time.
It is probably the first. This is probably going to be one of those rap albums I feel that really is kind of like the crossover that metal and rock fans can dig and hardcore hip hop heads are going to love to death. So, and the fact that I'm not too mad about the Grammy announcement for what's been chosen. I really hope Code Orange or Body Count win Best Metal Performance. Really crossing my fingers. It's not that I have any dislike towards Poppy or anything, but I'm just gonna be kind of like, what if she does win?
Yeah, if anything, it has to go to either Code Orange or Body Count.
Actually, before I forget to Power Trip, just because Riley's recent passing.
Oh yeah,
Like that would, after this turkey of a year and losing a front man, and especially with him having to put up with the front man for Trapped on Twitter, this would be like the perfect, here you guys go, you've earned this.
yeah. If the Grammy goes to Power Chip,
Nobody will be mad.
yeah, like it won't make me suddenly love the Grammys, but you know, a broken clock is is right twice a day.
Yeah, eventually it gets it right.
All right. Well, before we head out, Nick, where can everyone find you online?
Okay, so as per usual, my Instagram and Twitter are Super Saiyan Death Metal God. You don't need to worry about any shenanigans like asterisks or underscores. Currently at 914 followers, really hoping that we can get to 1,000 by the end of the year. That would be pretty awesome. And that end, I'm really excited to talk about the best of the year and possibly do a worst of the year too, somewhere in the middle of that.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun. You guys can catch me on Twitter and Instagram at CaptainK42. Check out all my quick thought reviews on letterbox.com/CoachK42. Find me in all the various Facebook groups just at my name. Check out Renegade Pop Culture on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. And last but not least, check out renegadepopculture.com. Need an escape? So do we. That'll do it for this installment of Renegade Jukebox. We will catch you guys later. Peace out.